social media. So today we have gathered here to discuss the issue of nutrition, what we should eat and what we should not eat. If you're on social media, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on WhatsApp, now and again you get a video or a message telling you what to eat and what not to eat. We are confused. We no longer know what to do and what not to do. And as an organization with interest in primary health care, we have decided to take on this today to clarify it so that people would have some clarity when it comes to nutrition. This program is brought to you by the CSAAE Healthcare Access Center. And the Access Center has a health awareness series, and this is one of them. The Health Awareness Series is a program that educates the public about key health issues so that people are aware, because we believe that if people are aware, they will do the right thing for their health. So today I have with me an expert in geriatric health, because the theme of our conversation today is after 60, what to eat and what not to eat. I know that, yes, we are looking at elderly people, but everybody also needs to know what to eat and what not to eat. But because of the consequences, the implications of diet for elderly people, it has become important that we prioritize them when we're talking about nutrition. So we have with us here on the studio is Dr. Njideka Okonjo-Udochie, one of the best family practitioners in Maryland, USA for many years now, and an expert in geriatric health. Dr. Udochie, you are welcome, and please can you tell our viewers all over the world a little bit about you? I know that many of them may already know you, but please tell us about yourself, Dr. Udochie.
Oh, thank you. Good morning, everybody. I'm Dr. Njideka Okonjo-Udochie, pedagogue. Nice introduction. I think somebody needs to mute there. So I'm a family physician and geriatrician. And for those that don't know what geriatrics is, really a specialty that focuses on taking care of older people, the elderly. So when you're 65 and above, in the United States, you're considered to be geriatric. So I'm fellowship trained in geriatrics. I'm also a family doctor. And I run a multi-specialty group in Maryland, in the United States. I've been in private practice for over 20 years, but I've been a physician actually for over 3 decades, providing care not only in the United States, but also on the African continent. I'm a Nigerian immigrant in the United States, and I'm so happy to be able to be here to extend my knowledge, not only to help people in the United States, but globally, especially on the African continent where the need is greater. So it's so good to be here today to talk to you all about aging and also what you need to eat, as you age.
Thank you so much, Dr. Njide. I want to remind our host out there, Doris and Co. I know there are quite a number of people that are online, but they don't have to be on video, and they should mute their microphones, because I think when Dr. Njide was speaking, we had some noise. We have some people online. Please, you don't have to be on video. You need to mute your microphone. We see people like Tanko. We see people like Tanko, please mute your camera, mute your microphone. You don't have to be on camera. Those on camera should be our guest speakers today. And if any other person logs in, please be on mute and do not be on camera. Just be by the side and watch and listen to what is happening. Thank you so much. We have another person with us on studio today, Doris Kano. Doris Kano is a geriatric caregiver professional. It's kind of like a new term to me, a new title to me. So, but she's also a program officer at CSAAE. So Doris, could you tell us a little bit about yourself? I will take time to talk about your work, but just for now, just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your geriatric caregiver profession. What is it about? You're muted, Doris.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Okay, my name is Kanu Doris, and a geriatric caregiver. I've been into caregiving profession for the past 2 years, and it's something that I was passionate about before going into it. And in these few years of my experience, I've been able to help a lot of clients, especially the elderly ones who are the geriatric, to navigate through daily activities and also help them in ensuring that they get proper care and proper nutrition. And of course, help them to keep to medication adherence and proper recording.
Okay, thank you so much, Doris. As we get along, as we continue with our conversation, we'll be getting back to you to learn more about the work you're doing at the CSAE Healthcare Access Center and how that can be of help to our fans and our viewers from across the world. Dr. Njideka, you had a birthday recently. Do you want to talk about your birthday? How was it?
Yes, well, thank you. I turned 60, and so that's why this conversation is so poignant and so good that we're discussing it. Because when you get to our age now, you now start thinking, what should I do? So as a physician, as a geriatrician, it was so important to me to, I marked this milestone birthday, but also to rethink, the things that I was putting into my body also. And that's why we're here. One of the reasons why we're talking about aging and what you need to eat. So yes, it was a beautiful birthday. So, I thank God every single day that you wake up, you have to give gratitude to God for health. And I always say to people, no matter what you're doing, no matter what profession you are in, if you don't have your health, you have nothing. So this is a very, good conversation to have, especially when it comes to nutrition, which is something that can really help people. So, yeah, it was great.
Thank you, and happy birthday again, Dr. Njida. You're 60 now, but you just don't look 60 to me. When I was having that birthday dinner with you, I'm like, is this lady actually 60 or she's making this up?
Well, I'm going to share some tips today, of what I do and what I think is really necessary because, just to begin the conversation, I think before we even talk about what is it that you should eat as you age, it's really important to understand, what aging is. What happens to you when you get to 60, when you get to 50, and when you understand that, I think it's more palatable to people when you start saying this is what you need to eat and this is not what you need to eat. So for me, in geriatrics, we have this acronym. It's called BHIM-C. And B means, your bones. As you age and get to 50, 60, your bones start thinning. They develop what we call osteoporosis. You're more at risk for falls and fractures. So that's one thing that happens. What else happens to you? The age starts for hormonal changes. And you see this a lot, not only with men, but also with women. Women are complaining about menopause. And I'm sure many of you may have heard, over the last few years, there's been a lot of interest in menopause and perimenopause. So people get their hormonal changes that happen to your body that affect the way you think, your mood, your brain function, and so on. So that's one thing that happens. The hormones drop. So decrease in testosterone, decrease in estrogen. These things are what happened to you as you age, as you get to 60 and above, that definitely is in play. And then there's the I, which is your immune system. And I really want us to sit with this, because that is the underpinning of what, when we're talking about nutrition, what we need to think about. What happens is your immune system is not as robust. It doesn't become, normally your immune system is supposed to protect you. But here, when you get older, something happens, chronic inflammation, instead of that protection. It's not as effective. That's what we say. Then the M starts for muscle mass. You lose muscle mass. So that is really important. So you see some people, their muscles are thinning, they don't have that much muscle mass, which predisposes you to more problems. And then the last is your metabolism. And this you find a lot more with women, who complain, or even men, my stomach, I can't lose that weight, and I have this belly, and it's not going down, and I seem to be gaining weight. I'm eating the same things, but my weight is even getting higher and higher. And that's because your metabolism slows down. So you need to know these things. And then what also happens is that, you are more at risk to have chronic disease like high blood pressure, diabetes, heart attacks, strokes, So when you understand this, then you understand why we need to think about what we put into our body. And I always say, you are what you eat. So now that you understand that the body, as you get older, and that your body is in a state of chronic inflammation. So we have done research. Research has been done and has proven that that you have, when you eat certain things, like things that are high in fat and cholesterol, right? Fried foods, that they enhance this chronic inflammation. And so if that enhances this chronic inflammation, what happens to you? So you're more at risk for having a stroke and a heart attack, etc. Bad things can happen to you. So just putting it, in a simple way, when you know that this is what happens to you, you are aging, your body's in a state of inflammation, what should you do? What you need to do then is to begin to think of what you can eat that can decrease that inflammation, that can help. And that is what we're going to be talking about today. So now that we have some basic foundation about what goes to you, what happens to you, what happens over the years as you age, now we can now talk about what is it that you should eat. Because when you turn on social media, whether you're on Instagram, you're on Facebook, you're on TikTok, there are people selling you supplements, people telling you don't eat this, don't eat that, and so on. But what I tell people is, look, you really have to look at where the evidence is. Evidence matters when it comes to your body. So it's evidence-based medicine. People are online, and many of them are selling things to you that may actually harm you. So first things first. The first thing you should do as you age is to get a doctor. You need a primary care doctor where you can do a physical, just get some basic understanding of where you are with your health. And then there are other things to think about. We have data now that has told us and shown us that there's a diet called the Mediterranean diet. That is the diet that seems to work the best for people as you age. This is where we need to look at evidence. What is it that has happened? People have done research and they say this kind of diet is the diet that seems to help people as they're older. The Mediterranean diet emphasizes, fruits, vegetables, whole grains, lean protein, and good fats. Those are the 5. So we can talk about it because, and also nuts, sorry. When we say fruits and vegetables, we have those things on the African continent and globally. Look for things that are local to you. If you're here in the United States, you can have fruits like blueberries and strawberries and raspberries. But what if you were in Nigeria, in Ghana, in Central African Republic, In Morocco, what are the fruits that are indigenous to you? These fruits are high in vitamin A, vitamin C, things that you need for your body, antioxidants. You know, there in Nigeria, we have soursop. It's also been, there's data to show that it helps prevent cancer. Soursop is there. We have mangoes, udala. There are things we have that are indigenous to us. You don't have to run and go and buy blueberries and strawberries. You have to look for the fruits and vegetables that are indigenous to you. When it comes to vegetables, let's think about things like ugu, spinach, kale. These are things that are good. Leafy greens, that's what we say. And we have a lot of them throughout the African continent and even here in the United States. So I always say that put some vegetable in your diet every day. Eat something raw, fruits, vegetables, lean protein, not red meat. Red meat is linked to increased inflammation. Beans, when you're talking about whole grains, you can think about oatmeal. You can think about things like brown rice. These two are examples of whole grains that you can have. There are so many types of whole grains that we have on the African continent and globally. So look for things that are local to you, because when you start going and trying to, taking diet that you can't really afford, it becomes a problem. So I like to stick to what is local to you. The grains that are local to your area is what you need to use, so that you're not trying to bring in a diet that you can't stick to. Okay?
Okay,
Yeah.
Dr. Njidi, thank you so much for that summary. It was a very comprehensive summary, and it was a very good way to get us started in this conversation. But yeah, we're going to go down to the specifics very briefly, so that people will be very knowledgeable about nutrition as they leave this conversation. We all know the issues that are on the table when it comes to nutrition, especially for those who are 60 and above. And we are going to be talking about them right now. I know you have mentioned the importance of paying attention to food, to what you eat when you have turned 60, because of the weakening of the bones, the weakening of the immune system, the changing in the mood, hormones, and everything dropping. I can understand that. I mean, somebody has been around for 60 years. Think about a car that they have been driving for 60 years, how it will be functioning. We went out for a dinner, a graduation dinner last night, and the graduation ended quite late. And by the time we got to the restaurant, it was about 9 p.m., about 9:30 p.m. And the kids were just ordering anything, chicken, rice, beans. But I noticed the rest of us in our 50s were sliding towards salad, at about 10 p.m. in the night. And I looked at my colleague, the mother of the graduate, and she ordered salad. The father ordered salad. I ordered salad. I could see that all of us in our 50s, we were all just ordering salad. And then the kids in their 17, 16, 14, they were just ordering a lump of rice and all that stuff. And so you could see that, the consciousness is gradually coming there. We are knowing that we are not like these kids. Their metabolic systems are still strong enough to handle any kind of thing that they eat. But let's talk about the specific things that are on the table that are always flying around. Let's begin with what we drink, because we know we have food, we have air. These are the two things that we help us in our lives. By the time we start getting older, what do you think we should do about what we drink? What kind of drinks should we be prioritizing, and which ones should we not be prioritizing? For example, those of us guys, we like to drink beer. We like to drink alcoholic drinks. Many ladies like to drink something sugary, maltina, juices, and the rest of them. Let's even begin from there. And of course, water is there too. Many people now have a lot of different kinds of water. You've talked about, the need to fortify our vitamins. The other day I was talking with a lady and she's like, "Oh, Father Gospel, I hope you take alkaline water. I've been taking alkaline water. It helps me a lot in my health." These things are so complicated. You just don't even know which one to take and what not to take. But let's go piecemeal. Let's even begin with drink, what we drink, because we know we cannot do without drinking something, whether to quench thirst or to nourish ourselves, So, and I wanted to be a lot more specific here. As we're aging, what kinds of drinks should we prioritize? Men and women are different. I was reading an article from John Hopkins yesterday, and they were saying that if you're a guy, you shouldn't take more than 2 bottles of beer. Well, that's fine, every day. And if you're a lady, you shouldn't take more than one, suggesting that we can go ahead and keep taking our beer, but not take more than two. They didn't specify age. You see, that's where the problem is. For men, they say not more than 2 bottles a day, and we don't even know what that bottle is. Is that the bigger bottle or the smaller bottle, or or the combo or the extra large? So, Njide, can you talk to us about what we should be drinking and what we should not be drinking as we're getting old? What kind of drinks? What kind of water? There's been a lot of conversation about plastic water in a plastic bottle. Should we be drinking those or should not be drinking those? Are they contributing to our health? Should we be drinking tap water? Should we be boiling our water? What kind of water should we be drinking? What kind of alcoholic drinks should we be drinking? Some people say red wine is good. I had an advert, I had a program, I had a clip on WhatsApp, and they were interviewing an Italian guy, and while he was about 100 and something years old, he said, oh, he took candy every day, and then he took red wine after every meal. And for him, that's the secret of longevity. So some people feel, oh, red wine is good. Some others feel like regular beer is good. Can you jump into this as an expert in geriatric health, and then clarify this for our listeners? And please be as specific as you can.
Okay, thank you so much. I think that this is a big problem. As you age, actually, your quest for test decreases. And so it predisposes you to dehydration. So it's important that you actually drink something, and drink what is going to nourish your body, right? So as far as what you should drink, plain water is fine. It helps your body functions. It will help you with hydration. If you have a little bit of lemon in it, it will help you. It can help because it just gives you that a little bit of an alkalizing effect on your body, and gives you some vitamin C. But even when you have just plain water, you don't have to have anything with it. So far as it's clean, plain water is fine. The reason why people talk about alkaline water is because alkaline water seems to have, when they make it now commercially, it has calcium and magnesium in it. And a lot of people who have problems with sleep sometimes say this, it's helpful for them, when they sleep. It helps to improve their sleep pattern. If they have, like reflux, symptoms, that when they take it, it seems to calm it down. So that's where alkaline water comes in. But you don't necessarily have to go and buy, alkaline water. Just plain water is fine. Other drinks that can nourish your body as you age include coconut water, because it's rich in potassium and magnesium. And this is good for your muscles and your nerves. Green tea, which I drink a lot, it's packed with antioxidants. So that is also something that you can think about. Herbal tea, chamomile, ginger tea, rooibos. I like that. That's usually the rooibos tea. It's really good. It's it's a South African tea that it's very, very good for you. So those are some of the drinks you can have. Father Gospel, you talked about wine. A glass of wine is good. Everything is in moderation. Okay, it's not that you go overboard. I think what tends to happen is people get caught up, and they end up really overdoing it. So if you have a beer once in a while, it's not There's nothing wrong with that. Where we have a problem is when it's something that is all the time. So a glass of wine 3 times a week is fine. In fact, in some nursing homes here in the United States, they encourage the older people to have a glass of wine because it's been beneficial for people. So I mean, that's where I come down when it comes to drinks, and what we need to to drink to keep ourselves hydrated.
Thank you, Dr. Njide. When you say taking beer once in a while, is it like can one take every day and night, every day a bottle of beer when we're getting there, or once in a week, or once in a year? What is once in a
When
while?
I say let me clarify. When it comes to beer, if you take a beer, maybe 1 beer a week is fine. It's when it becomes something that you're doing on a daily basis. Because remember, what is in beer is sugar, right? It gets down metabolized. So you also have to think about what your underlying conditions are. And is this really beneficial to me? So we don't want people not to have a good quality of life. But what we say is stay away from the things that are not so helpful. Beer is not a very good, helpful drink. So if you're using it to socialize once a week or, once a month, that's okay. But to be drinking it and drinking multiple bottles, it's not going to help you and may even predispose you to other medical problems. And in fact, before you even do that, because that's why I said you need a primary care doctor to understand where your health is, what your baseline is. You may not want to drink at all. For instance, if you have problems with your liver, you shouldn't be drinking any alcohol. So you need to understand that. So I stay away from beer. I don't drink beer.
Okay, thank you so much. Women don't like beer, that's good, but the doctor said we should not be doing much. Doctor said we should not be doing much of it. But Doris, you are a home caregiver, so you're always with these elderly people and you're taking care of them in their homes. Do you see a spike? Do you see that elderly people who are at home tend to crave for things to drink? And what do you see around them all the time in their refrigerators? And some of them are retired, and so they spend much of their time home or doing other things. Do you see, what is your experience about what you see most of them, especially those in Nigeria where you work? What is their attitude towards drink? And then I'll come back to you too, because it's not just about what to drink. Now we have issues about whether it should be cold or whether it should be room temperature, whether we should have ice in it or whether we shouldn't have ice. In America here, I mean, even if it is as cold as a freezer, they will still put ice in the water. And in Nigeria, it's so hot and people want to take cold drink all the time. Now I see people on the internet saying you shouldn't take cold drink, you shouldn't take this. Is just totally, confusing. And so, Doris, what do you see people doing? What do you see these people who are aging, do you take care of? What is their attitude towards drinks?
Okay, thank you very much, sir. And taking care of elderly people can be very exhausting, and especially when you have to be the one telling them what to do. And some of them, of course, the senior citizens, like we call them, sometimes they want to not adhere to those instructions, those medical instructions that you, the caregiver, is trying to guide them through the right path. And for the drinks, you see most of them want to go for the beer. Like constantly, they want to take beer. There's always beer in their fridge. There's always take less water, which of course, as a caregiver that I am, you let them know that, of course, as they age, they ought to stay hydrated. Most times we have to advise them to always have this glass of water or a can water just right by their bedside. Okay, so when they wake up, they ought to take the first thing they need to do is to take a glass of water. Just put in a glass of water and take. It helps them a lot. So it has not been easy, but we'll keep guiding them through the right paths and make sure that they are prepared to living a healthy life.
Well, I know that men like to drink beer, but how about women? You don't take care of elderly women, aging women too. What do
We
you see
do,
them
we
craving
do,
for when it
we
comes to
do.
drink?
Is
Ice cream or what?
Yeah, most of them have their wines, and of course, some of them, a lot of women will always want to take beer as well, which of course, too much
Yeah?
intake. Yes, yes, the small stouts. You see a lot of them without their bottle of small stouts in their refrigerator, and
Oh,
of course,
my
most
grandmother used to
people,
take small stout and she used to say that it's medicinal, you know?
well, to an extent, um, I think for me, I think small stars even has more sugar content than other beer because
So
it's
you're saying
bitter.
that
Does
Asian
because it's
women like to take a lot of stout and take malt. I thought women like to do like maltina, wine,
well,
juice.
not all women actually. Majority of them want to go in for the stout. So we let them, just like Dr. Njideka rightfully said, everything has to be done in moderation. You don't go overboard for anything that you need to do. So even we, the younger ones, we should also know that whatever we do, whatever eating habit or drinking habit we want to go while we are aging, we have to do everything in moderation.
Well, yeah, I do understand that. I know that, because you're a caregiver, because you are hanging around these people all the time. I'm more interested in what your experiences are. Since we have an expert here who can tell us how those experiences should be managed. But you meet them. I mean, I know Dr. Njide is in the clinic, and these elderly people come to her once in a while and go. But as a caregiver, you live with them, you stay with them every day. You care for them. So it doesn't matter what Dr. Anjide tells them at the clinic. Caregivers have to enforce those things at home. And in fact, to be honest, caregivers seem to have more experience about what these elderly people, aging people are doing. Because sometimes they will tell their doctors a lie. The doctor can ask you how many beers do you take in a week? You probably can say just once or twice, something like that. But the caregivers see them every day. So I'm more interested in what you're seeing, what your experiences are on the ground. And then we have Dr. Njide to analyze or tell us whether those experiences are valid or whether we should pursue them or not. But Dr. Njide, just before we jump into the food, can you say something about cold drinks? Should our drinks be cold or should we take room temperature? Should they be hot? Should we put ice in them? In Nigeria, for example, the weather is too hot. Should we not be taking cold drinks in Nigeria because of the hot weather? Or what have you to say very quickly about these cold drinks and ice and everything? It's been very controversial on the internet of late.
Yeah, actually, that's a very good thing to bring up because, well, when I was in Nigeria just this Christmas holiday and I asked for a cold drink, my brother said to me, "Oh, no, 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 you shouldn't be drinking cold drink because of your age. You should be drinking hot drink. Your drink, you should only drink hot water, the room temperature, stay on room temperature." But I had to then educate him. Actually, there's no evidence that hot water, room temperature water is better than cold water, and
Hmm.
vice versa. There's no evidence. So when you look at the literature, it doesn't show that if you're drinking room temperature, you are better off than you're drinking than you're drinking water with ice. It's whatever is more appealing to you. So if you're in Nigeria and you're sweating and it's hot, it's what encourages you to drink the cold water. It's better for you to drink it. Now, people tend to want to drink warm water. Why? Because warm water is sent to help you. It helps your tummy, so it helps digestion, constipation. It suits you if you have like a sore throat. It produces more of a calming effect, so people feel better when they're drinking warm water, or room temperature water. But there's no beneficial, research proven beneficial effect to either. So you can drink whatever works for you.
Wow.
The most important thing is to drink. There's no benefit. So room temperature is fine, cold is fine. You don't have to, warm is fine. I know some people who want it to be a little warm or hot, especially in the morning. They tell me that that's what they do. Whatever works is fine.
Wow, that's good. So we got that all settled because it's been really very controversial. In fact, some of the fallacies about cold water and ice, they've all made me not to drink cold water and ice anymore. I just always go for the warm,
It's just a
thinking
myth.
all that
It's a myth.
information.
It's one of those things you see on the internet. It's a myth.
Exactly. To be
It's a
honest
myth.
with you,
So
I stopped
yeah.
drinking cold water or cold beer because of what I read on the internet, and I'm glad we are having this conversation. And that's part of the work we do at CSA Healthcare Access Center is to educate people. But Doris, before I go back to Dr. Angel, and you care for old people, I want to jump into food. Tell us in Nigeria, what kind of food do you see around people that you take care of? What kind of food do they like to eat? Iba, is it gari? Is it fufu, cassava? Is it yam? Is it red meat? I know in Nigeria they like to eat a lot of red meat. What kind of food, from your experience as a caregiver, what kind of food do you think people tend to keep around them, tend to eat in Nigeria? We'll have Dr. Njide to analyze those food and we'll see how whether they can be helpful. But I wanted to, name for us the most common kinds of food you tend to see aging people gravitate towards as you care for them.
Thank you very much, sir. Most of the clients I've cared for, they take more of rice, get to see rice. You see them take fufu, eba. You rarely see most of the elderly people want to take oatmeal, all right? So they want to go for the main African food. They say that is what they like to eat. So even if their dietitian gives you a meal plan to want to follow suit and make sure they adhere to these things, they still want to revert back to, please go and make me eba. It's eba and egusi soup I want to eat. It's rice. Most of them want to even eat rice morning, rice afternoon, rice evening, which is, I think, is not healthy for them. You see, most of the time, they don't always want to adhere to those nutritional plans that have been mapped out by their doctor or dietitian to follow.
So
So
what kind of meat do you see them eating? Do they eat chicken more? Do they like
red
to
meat,
eat more? Do they like to
the
eat
beef
red
meat,
meat? What kind of red meat? Is it cow meat,
cow
goat
meat.
meat, or oxtail? What kind of things are you seeing on their dinner plates and on their lunch plates? What kind of things are you seeing in their refrigerator? You've mentioned rice, you've mentioned the bar. Do they eat a lot of yam too? Or the aging people, do they have a taste for yam, beans, eggs? How about vegetables? Do you see a lot of vegetables on their dinner? Just share your
Well,
experience.
it's just a few of them that won't even do the vegetable. I know I had a client who constantly there is vegetable on every of our meal. At some point, she was tired. So whenever I present that vegetable, she'll be like, "No, I don't want to have vegetable today." And a lot of onions comes with it. So it's one of the challenging things that the caregivers, of course, face with the older adults. Then when it comes to their meats, you see a lot of cow meat, you see the chicken, and of course cow tail. All right. So that's the protein that they always want to go for.
How about eggs? Do you think that aging people like to enjoy egg? And I'm going to come to Njite too. There's a lot of there's a lot of meat around eggs. Some say you can't eat more than one egg in a day. Some say you should not eat with the egg yolk. Some others, this. I mean, the confusion is just immense. But anyway, so do you see aging people gravitate towards eggs?
Just a few
Or just
of
a
them,
few of
sir.
them.
Yes, sir.
How about bread? Bread is a common meal in Africa. It's something that we eat all the time. I think it's something that is on the table everywhere in the world. Do you see aging people like to eat more bread or cake? What kind of bread do you see in their homes and on their tables?
Some of them, yes, eat bread. I mean, some of my clients, of course, will always want to go for the tea and bread. A lot of milk. They'll tell you to add a lot of milk, not the lean milk, the normal milk that general people take. They want to have a lot of it in
Like
their tea.
like pig milk, like the pig milk we drink in
Yes, like the
Nigeria.
pig milk,
Liquid
like the
pig
pig
milk you
milk.
wanted. Because we are raised, we were raised with pig milk, we are raised with Milo. I mean, I still drink pig milk every day. I mean, not the liquid one, the dry one, the Milo, I take it every day. That was what I was raised with from childhood. But Dr. Njide, let's go to you now. We're talking about the food, and I know you in your summary, in your overview, you talked about Mediterranean dish. For Africans, you have to break that down for us. But let's talk about our folks back home. What do you think about the kind of carbohydrates they should be eating? We are a people that like to eat a bagari and soup. As we start getting old, should we continue to eat this, or should we try to make a change?
So one of the biggest problems we have is, I think that causes a lot of confusion, is when you try to look at what is recommended. Like I talked about the Mediterranean diet, and then you don't have the funds to actually get salmon or something like that, or maybe oats, dip oatmeal for some people. But there are things that we have in Nigeria that are actually local, that older people can have as you age, that are good. We like to eat about, or we call it swallow. Amala is very good. We recommend it as you age because it's soft in texture. Oatmeal or wheat flour, these are all alternatives. Gari is not recommended. It's not as good for you as you age in terms of its digestion. It's processed, and we don't want you to have processed carbohydrates. Those are the things that increase the inflammation. So amala is good for you. Okay. When it comes to what should we pair that with, we have a lot of soups, and our soups are nutritious. But I'd like to tell people, like, for instance, when I'm cooking, for if we're doing okra soup, which is good for older people, I tend to put the okra at the end. If it's crunchy, then it provides that nutrition. If it's so overcooked, it doesn't really provide the nutrition. So, but our soups are very good. Put the vegetables at the end. Bitter leaf soup is good. Oha soup is good. Ewedu, okra soup. Those are the soups that we recommend as you age. They're easily tolerated.
How about the meat? Of
The
them, people
meat.
say we cannot eat
This is where,
the problem is.
yeah, the meat is where the problem is. We only recommend lean protein. So, I mean, beef is not really recommended. What most people like is, as you age, is not what you really need to be eating, right? We have other things that can provide you with that protein. Chicken is better. If you have to eat meat, lean cut, so it shouldn't have a lot of fat in it. Try and stay away from red meat. It increases inflammation. So if you understand that and you lean towards more, eat fish. Fish is better. A lot of them contain omega-3 fish oil, which is good for you as you age, like mackerel. Fish is good. So the more fish you eat, the better. Something that has protein, where you guys were talking about eggs. Eggs are good also. I say about 3 to 4 eggs a week. Then you say, is it the egg yolk or the egg white? This is where your underlying problem, medical problem, comes to play. So if you're someone who has had disease and high cholesterol, you need to use the egg white and not the egg yolk, because the yolk is where the cholesterol is, right? That's the bad part. But if you don't have that underlying, 3 to 4 eggs a week is good. So there are things, akara. Let's think about things that we have. It's a proteinous food. It's good for breakfast. That we can have. Beans is good. So we have some local things that we can make, local, dishes that are actually nutritious and good for you as you age. It's just that we are not used to doing that. So we want to stick with, a lot of meat and cow tail and so on. Those things are not good for you as you age. You should try and lean towards what is proven to help you and decrease the inflammation in your body. And then when it comes to vegetables too, I know that we had been talking earlier about the fact that Dorothy had seen older people not want to eat vegetables. But we have to encourage the vegetables, the salads, there. It's a question of mixing it properly. Maybe today you do kale or spinach salad. It's good to have a leafy green in your body. So mix it up. Don't give them the same thing every single day.
Okay.
Use things that we have locally.
Thank you so much. We can see that this is getting a little bit more complicated. And to be honest with you, and I can see why this is so confusing. An average person, some people have already given up. They say, you know what, forget it. I'm just going to eat anything I want, So, but maybe that is the reason why it's important to be talking to your doctor. You know where we are in Nigeria. The issue of having a primary care physician and everything is not really as strong as it is here in America, and access to health care is also not there. Many people don't even have any doctor they could talk to, probably, year in, year out. They don't have anything like primary care physician or something. When they get sick, maybe they go to a general hospital, but that's it. There's nobody that would advise them. But I think that's where the home health caregivers come in. And I think that for us in Nigeria, maybe we need to really put more weight or more energy into that. And I think that's what Doris is trying to do in Nigeria, where, trying to ask people and tell people to consider trained home caregivers. We call them meds or house helps or something like that. Some of us who are in the United States or people who are abroad, they have young women and men taking care of their parents. Of what do you think? Because from all you have said, to be honest with you, in many cases, an average aging person in Nigeria might not be able to figure all these things out. But I think with a trained home caregiver, I think that could make a difference. That could help them. Doris, what are you seeing in Nigeria? Are people getting interested in having trained home caregivers? Because from what Dr. Njide says, it has become very important that people consider, at least if they don't have primary health, and even if you have a primary health care doctor, you can reach the doctor every minute that you want. But probably trained home caregivers can be very supportive and can guide aging people in making dietary decisions. So what are you and your team doing out there in Owerri, trying to support aging people with their diet and all those kind of things? Tell us about the geriatric health caregiver program that you are running in Owerri and how that fits into the conversation around the diet for elders.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. I am the program officer for CHealth department. And of course, we are passionate about providing quality care for children and adults as well. And of course, the elderly individual through professional caregiving services and also healthcare support solutions. Okay, we are trying to create a space where we can train, of course, certify, and equally provide job opportunities for caregivers here in Nigeria, and also link them up with opportunities abroad. And beyond that, we provide different caregiving services. I and my team, okay, in the sense that we help families, we consult for families, and of course, help them to give them direction on how to properly care for their elderly individuals. We also provide post-hospital recovery services, in-house, in-home services for the elderly individuals. And not just that, we also sell medical equipment, different kinds of medical equipment for the elderly individuals and for the children as well. And the most important aspect of it is selling reliable health insurance plan for children, adults, and of course the elderly individual. Now, this enables them to access healthcare right on time without delay, because most times you see that people, not because they don't want to get to the healthcare facility, but the finance is not there. But with right health insurance plan, they will be able to access healthcare without delay. And of course, it also avoids pay out of pocket. Because let's say, for instance, you go into a medical, the medical facilities, most of them are very expensive, from consultation to having your medication, prescriptions, and getting these medications. So most of the time, you see the elderly people are dependent on families and, of course, their loved ones, which may not always come every time to aid them of that issue or challenge.
Thank you so much. We're rounding up gradually, but tell us why you think that elderly people need trained health caregivers. I mean, we have a lot of people in the village or in Nigeria, they have maids. I mean, they just go to the village and get a young lady, or go to the village and get a young man to take care of, their parents or their grandparents. And I mean, that has worked for us for many years now. Why do you think that those people taking care of our elderly parents and grandparents should be trained as caregivers? Why do you think that is necessary, especially in the light of what Dr. Njide has said? And why would somebody decide to train a med that is taking care of the mother or the father in the village already? Why do you think people should consider, hiring trained caregivers to take care of their parents rather than leaving them in the hands of untrained local maids and house helps?
Thank you very much. First of all, I will say that the untrained maids actually do not have those geriatric skills. They do not have the right knowledge to cater or take care of the elderly individuals as they age, because they have not been trained. They do not have those professional skills to properly care for these individuals. In the sense that, as people age, they tend to experience different health challenges, from hypertension, diabetes, dementia, stroke. Now, a trained caregiver understands these health challenges that surrounds the elderly people. And of course, in the course of their training, they must have been told the early signs of these illnesses, which the untrained nannies do not have, right? So as a trained caregiver, you understand these symptoms and signs. And when you begin to notice them in any individual that you're taking care of, now, it is not your duty as a caregiver to provide solution, but you can take proper documentations of these signs when they come and how they come. And of course, further report to the geriatric doctors, the experts who are more equipped than you. You report back to them, they will be able to provide a proper solution to the client that you're caring for. Now, those untrained nannies that you just get randomly in the village, they do not have these skills. They do not understand medication adherence. When the elderly people begin to age, there's this thing they call polypharmacy, because they take multiple medications. There are a lot of it comes with a lot of side effects. Now, untrained maids can unintentionally, cause medication error, which can be life-threatening for that client or for your mother or your father. But a trained caregiver understands medication adherence. And of course, we, guidelinely just follow discretion. Every direction, every prescription that the doctor has, put out there, that trained caregiver will follow suit and see to it. That is why everybody needs a trained caregiver to properly care for their elderly ones. As unlike getting a random person to just do this thing, you'll be able to check.
Tell us about the health, the food. Do trained health caregivers, when you train them, do you train them on diet too, on what the aging people should be eating? Dr. Njide has said all this we should be eating and all those we should not be eating. Do you train the meds, the caregivers? Do you train them on this? Because they are the people that cook for mama and papa in the house. The people that cook for mama and papa is the maid that cooks for mama, is the maid that cooks for grandpa in their house. And it's what they cook for them that they eat. In fact, at some point, the grandpa and the grandma and the mama and papa, they just depend on the maid. Whatever the maid gives them, they eat. As they get even older, they don't even have a say on their diet anymore. It's whatever they see on the table for breakfast, that's what they eat. Are you prioritizing training these meds and professional caregivers in diet, as Dr. Njide has pointed out?
Yes, exactly, because aging comes with a lot of things, and they shouldn't be eating the random thing that everybody eats, right? And of course, we try as much as possible. For some aged people, you give them food, they will tell you bring raw salt, which is very wrong.
But do you
Okay.
train do you train these caregivers on
Yes,
how
we do.
to feed these people?
We
That's the
do.
question. Do you train them on
We
that?
do train them. We do train them on that.
Okay. And what are people who don't want professional caregivers? Do you think that it is okay for them to bring their meds and their houseboys to you so that you can retrain them on how best to care for their parents and grandparents? Is that something you also offer at your center?
Exactly, sir. We do that training. We train nannies, houseboys, and of course maids to properly care for their elderly individuals, and it's part of the services that we render.
Dr. Njide, you're a doctor, and I know you work with nurses and caregivers and everything. Do you see any value here in America? Yeah, aging people have a lot of caregivers and others, and they're all trained and they're even certified. But I don't think in Nigeria we do much of that. People just go to the village. I know you have an aging mother at home, and I'm sure you also have a maid that takes care of her. So, what is your own experience? Do you think that Nigerians should start training these meds, or they should start prioritizing hiring trained caregivers for their parents and grandparents? How do you see the work that Doris is doing? How important is it when it comes to aging people, their health, their nutrition, and everything?
Thank you so much. This is actually a very, very important issue. I see the work that Doris's team is doing as critical, and I put an underline to it because I have an aging mother who is 96, and there is nothing more important about older people than the people who care for them. It's a safety issue, it's a quality of life issue. So if you say you have your mother in the village and you have your mother anywhere, your father anywhere, and it is so important that you have someone who is trained to look after them. For instance, the lady that looks after my mom, I had to train her. I had to spend time. That's why here in the US, there's actually a certification program called the Geriatric Nursing Assistant, where they train you on how to administer the medications, how to take care of the patient, how to transfer them from one place to another. Some of them may have frail bones. We talked about that. How to move them, what kinds of food to give them, how to administer the medicine so you don't make a mistake, how to notice changes. Like Doris said again, when you notice the subtle changes, when to get the person to a doctor, and this is so important because why? It will prevent death, it prevents injuries, it prevents hospitalization. So if you love your older person, and we're all going to age, everybody wants to grow old. If you want to be in this world,
I want to be 120 years
but it's about how you grow old. When people see me and they say you're 60, blah, 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 it's about how you grow old. My mom is 96 and she's walking around because I put a lot of energy into the people that surround her. A great meal plan, trained caregiver, that I personally trained. And I think that this program is actually, the word I will call it is innovative, and it is phenomenal. It's something that we all need because we all want to grow old, but we want to grow old and have people who are trained to take care of us, to help us, to be able to provide assistance with when we want to go to the bathroom, or to help us when we want to eat, to prepare the right meals, to give us the right medication. You don't want them to make mistakes, and give you something you're not supposed to take at the particular time, because that can affect you. Why? Because most people, as you age, you already have underlying medical problems, maybe arthritis, diabetes, high blood pressure. And so it's so important, that you have people who are trained. So I think the work is critical, and I'm so excited. I'm very happy that we have this program that is starting, and that Doris's team is doing this. I recommend this program for everyone. If you have someone who is at home in Nigeria, Ghana, anywhere, and this is a critical program that will help the person who is taking care of your loved one and provide better care so that they have a better quality of life. So I'm very excited about this.
Thank you, Dr. Njide. I think it's very important because think about it. Your parents did everything for you. They carried you when you were a nanny, when you were a baby. They did school runs for you when you were vulnerable as a child. And now your parents are vulnerable as an elder. They are getting old. And I think that, natural justice demands that we give the best care that we could give to our parents. And you have heard it from a geriatric expert, Dr. Njide, and she says that the best care you can do for your parents is to give your parents a trained caregiver who knows the kind of diet to give your mom for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner, who knows how to give them their medication. So don't go and carry somebody from the village who doesn't know her left from her right to go and care for your parents. They might even facilitate the death of your parents unknowingly because, nobody gives what he doesn't have. Nobody gives what he or she doesn't have. Nemo that quod non habet. So don't try to save money, to say you're saving money at the detriment of the health of your father or your mother. The Njide's mother is 96 because Njide keeps working hard all the time, guiding the med. I remember when I was in Nigeria, I visited some of my aging friends, and I noticed how me and my colleague were educating the caregivers, the meds, on what to do. You don't blame these meds. Nobody trained them. They're doing the best. They're doing what they think. And sometimes they see all these things flying on WhatsApp. They will try it on mama or on papa, and they see them on WhatsApp. They try them on mama, on papa, because that's the much they know. So, Doris, so much. Thank you so much for the work you and your team are doing at CSA Healthcare Access Center. This is what we need at this time to care for our age. Nobody talks about the aging people. Attention is always on the youth in Nigeria, but aging people have so much been neglected. And maybe because we don't have resources like you and your team have, Doris, at Owerri. I've been invited also in Lagos by a group of Reverend sisters who also want to start this kind of program in Lagos. So I think the need is rising. And I think that we should all look out for those who are our parents, especially Nigerian parents and African parents. They deserve a lot of care. I mean, in America, you could borrow a school loan and go to school, but in Nigeria, your parents pay outright for you. And so our parents have done so much for us that, the least you can do for your parents is to get your parents. Of course, you can't stay home to take care of your parents. You have to work and make money. But, in your place, a trained caregiver can take the best care of your parents. Doris, how do people reach you? If people need caregivers, professional caregivers, how do they reach you? Or if people want those taking care of their parents already to be trained so that they could better care for their parents, how do they reach you? Or if people want to talk to you about, meal plans or health insurance products for their aging parents, tell us how they can reach you and how you can be of help to them, where in the East and in Nigeria where you are working.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. They can visit our head office at number 17 Ajoko Street, behind UBA Bank, Wedra Road, Owerri, or they can call 0704 600 7185. Again, 0704 600 7185.
Do you have a website?
Yes, they can also reach us via the C-Health website at chealth@csaeinc.org.
Okay, that website is chealth.csaeinc.org. chealth@csaeinc.org. Dr. Njide, what final words do you have for our viewers all over the world? I know a lot of people like to listen to CSAE programs, and I'm sure after this, you are going to get more questions. about this, because this is a very important issue. I have had a lot of people come to me, and even myself, I don't even know what to eat anymore. And I'm so excited that Doris and her team are doing this great job in Owerri, and I do hope that more people can buy into it. Our elders, our aging parents deserve the best. They deserve a lot of care. And to be honest with you, I mean, if we had this kind of caregiver programs, I'm sure this issue about confusion on what to eat and what not to eat would be handled, because doctors like you will be able to provide guidance to caregivers on how to manage aging parents and, take care of them so they have quality of life. I mean, we're not going to live forever, but at least for the period of time they have. I mean, what is money for if not to care for us? So, Dr. Njide, what final words do you have to our viewers this morning?
So finally, I would say to everyone, your health is priority. The health of your parents is priority, or aging relatives. So let us use the evidence that we have. We have this wonderful program that Doris and her team have, and we now know that the benefits are enormous. Actually, it's a critical program. So, contact Doris or anybody else who has a specific program to train your elderly patients, caregivers, so that you can enhance their quality of life. She's already given us the ways to contact her, either by visiting their website or calling or visiting their office. For you as an individual, moderation is key. You are what you eat. Think about yourself as you age and choose the right foods for you. So I emphasize again, choosing the right foods, vegetables, proteins, lean meats, good fats, and do it locally. Do it locally. Look for things that are around you. You don't have to go and spend so much money. Choose wisely. Moderation is key, and make your health a priority. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Njide. I never knew before now that you were a geriatric health expert, so you're a woman of many parts, and I think Nigeria needs you. Maybe you have to leave Maryland and relocate to Nigeria and go and support our aging parents, and families. And we are really very blessed to have you. I have really been enriched. To be honest with you, before now, I didn't even know that taking cold water and warm water. And I've been punishing myself taking hot water every day instead of just enjoying cold water when it is even hot. So I'm taking away something. I'm going home with something from this conversation. And that is why it's important. Thank you for doing this for free at no charge. I know how much doctors charge for 1 hour, but because of your passion and love for people, for your country, Nigeria, for your patients, for everybody in medicine. And that's why you have continued to win the award for the best doctor in Maryland for many years now. You are always available to help and to talk to us and to guide us. So if you need any help, any medical help, Dr. Njide is always available, and she's a phenomenal woman. Somebody that is very passionate and caring about. She's not practicing medicine for the money. She's just, passionate about it. And we are really, I've always told her that she's supposed to be the Minister for Health in Nigeria because of all the knowledge she has and all her passion. But they see our Nigerians are flying out to other countries. But she's doing a lot in Nigeria too. She has a lot of programs even though she's in the US, she's always concerned about what is happening in Africa, not only in Nigeria. She goes to Ghana, she goes to Nigeria, she goes to other African countries. People like this are supposed to be appreciated, supposed to be adored for the work that they do for us. And Dr. Njide, we are very appreciative for all the things you do for us. All you want is for us to be happy. God bless you in your ministry. And again, happy 60th birthday celebration that you had recently. And Doris, what final words do you have for the public?
Thank you very much, sir. I would say aging is a journey, okay, that a lot of us are going to get into it. So the earlier we channel our care and our resources to taking care of our aging parents properly, which is one of their fundamental human rights, the better for us. It also determines, and of course, how we, the younger ones, will be taken care of when we get to those age.
You're still a young woman, by the way, and just my last one. What made you to even go into caring for elders? You're a young person. You should be doing some other stuff. Why do you feel comfortable around elders? What motivated you to go start caring for aging people? Do you have aging parents or something like that?
Yes, while growing up, of course, I lost my grandmom, so normally the health challenges because of mismanagement. So as I grew up, and of course I still have my mom. My dad is late. I never met him, but I still have my mom. She's healthy and hearty. And of course, she's even in her late 60s. And of course, people doubt her age because I've channeled a lot of my experience to, making sure that she do the right thing, she eats right, and that's it. So that was my first drive, actually.
Thank you so much for the work you are doing for aging people, for vulnerable people, because you're also doing things for children too. It looks like you are more interested in vulnerable people, children and aging people. And if you need her help or her services or anything, please reach out. Of course, you can track her from our social media handles, C Health, or from our website and from the number that she has given to you. We shall be coming back over and over again. We want to clear all the confusions around health. And Dr. Njide, please stand by. We shall be coming back to you again pretty much soon. That's the least we can do for our people and for our country. Thank you so much, and God bless you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.